62% of the attendees have voted, and the results are like this. We have 94% who are lions, and we have wonderful guests as well who are not lions and are taking benefit of this learnathon. We would like to really thank them as well for joining us, and of course our own lions family for making this learnathon a successful one so far. There is an issue where a lot of attendees are not able to join because our sessions are going full. We are trying to communicate with them. Meanwhile, if any one of you get a information or a WhatsApp or an email that we are not able to join, you can request them to kindly try and join after every session, because some people have opted for certain sessions to attend, so they may be opting out after one session is over. So that would be the right time for motivating other attendees to join us. On my end, I am also trying to send communications to those who are communicating with me directly, but you can imagine receiving about 1,000 plus emails and trying to reply to them is a tough task, but I'm trying to do my best. So thank you, Dr. Jivanta, once again. And now it is my privilege to introduce you the next faculty, our respected past international director, Lion Dr. Vijay Raju. He is a trustee of the Lions Clubs International Foundation and one of the, rather the only invitee by Lions International on the LCA forward from the Isame area. I think I would leave it to Dr. Vijay Raju to talk a little bit about that as well, just to, for the benefit of those who are non-Lions, in quick 1 or 2 minutes, what is this all about, so that they are also motivated to know more about this organization, and we will be sending different literature to them about Lionism after this webinar is over. So over to you, sir. Thank you so much. You'll have to unmute yourself, sir. Have you unmuted? Let me do it for you.
Lion Vijay Rajuji, you have the control of mouse and keyboard. You can use and do the next to click your presentation.
That's fine. So very nice. Friends, good morning. Thank you so very much. Congratulations for the leadership of MD3231 for this brilliant idea of bringing a learnathon. Hats off to the leadership of past Governor Lion Rajesh Mehra, Anand, and the entire crew that is involved in establishing such a great learning. And you have really put the country on a move, and the whole lot of Lions and non-Lions in this country are now looking towards trainings of this nature. Having been a trendsetter, congratulations and thank you very much personally for me to have this opportunity. To set a little, before we move on, why this subject and a little about the Lions Club International Forward. Friends, we are about an organization of 100 plus years old. A few years ago, if you have heard, sometime in 2014-15, we have done and initiated a concept called LCI Forward. This has been a very successful. We had an ambitious goal of every year that we complete 200 million people to be served. And today, having that achieved by the Lions across the world, the 200 million people are being served each year. It has come a time that we need to look towards what is Lions Club International Forward 2.0. The Long Range Planning Committee, led by the executive officers, more importantly the president and the vice presidents, have established a committee representing few directors, few past directors, and a few representatives from the Lions Club International Foundation to design the future of the Lionism on various aspects and how do we move forward. So having said that, the Lions Clubs International, through this committee, invited how can we can integratively work with the foundation as well as the organization. And I've been given this opportunity by the executive officers to serve on behalf of Lions Clubs International Foundation and to help and understand and give our thoughts in the modern ways of community engagement, especially episodic volunteerism, And mostly, there are lions who doesn't want to actively, there are individuals who want to serve but doesn't want to actively involve themselves into the organization. There are people who wanted to associate themselves with the cause. Somebody is interested in working for women and cancer. Somebody is interested in working for diabetes. How can we really correlate and collaboratively work with various organizations? A little about it. The outcome of LCI Forward 2.0 will come out in 21 by June, so that it will be effective from 2022 linguistic year. Thank you very much. Secondly, why business etiquette? Friends, with the extensive travels that I have made for us over 10 years, many a times we are identified by our tone of the skin or by the complexities or the features that we as Lions or South Indians or Indians or South Asians, many times we are identified across the world by our, not only by looks, but also by the behavior and culture. There were several episodes. I must thank the organizers for having organized the very poll that made me so easily understand that 96% of the attendees are Lions and 94% and 6% of them non-Lions. Let this business etiquette could be in general. At the same time, we will also be working on very clearly how can we relate this to our business, how can we relate this to our profession, at the same time to the Lions. Anand, my slide is not moving, Anand.
Can you click next in your because you have the control?
Yeah, I'm done that. No.
Okay.
If you can really
Okay.
move.
I will control, sir. I will control.
So I welcome you for this session of business etiquette, where we would be talking about and understanding the concept and its significance and what are the benefits, and let's assimilate and practice and demonstrate good business etiquettes in your professional and the Lions environment. Maybe the next slide, when I raise my hand, probably you can push it next level. So this is even the next one. Friends, it has always been, etiquettes are not just being decent by ourselves. It's being respectful for others. In the business context, it implies, a set of rules that govern the way people interact with one another in business, with customers, suppliers, fellow Lions, inside and outside bodies. The question is, many at times you find an unruly culture in some of the meetings. I know that is unexpected or uncalled for. It just also helps you build a relationship with other fellows, other people, and fellow Lions. Friends, it's always an opportunity of conveying a right image and behaving in an appropriate way about yourself and your behavior. So I would request, these are the areas that we are going to talk about it. And in the process, let's simplify and define how and what are we looking at it. It is an expected behavior and expectations for individual actions within the society or a group of Lions or at the place. It involves how we treat our fellow Lions, our workers, colleagues, right? Courtesies and the pleasant and work environment for every one of us. By using this good business etiquette, you show your own integrity. I would request you to kindly move further. What is the significance before we delve into the subject? Friends, a good business etiquette establishes and fosters a better communication within office, both internally and externally. It helps us develop some standard business practices at all levels of our corporate culture or the Lions culture or an interaction between professionals. I would also say this will really help us. It is a key component of your sales, after sales service, customer grievances, redress, client retention, loyalty building, troubleshooting, and marketing. This is how it helps us to an extent of it boosts the staff confidence, creates healthy working ambience. It also helps a better understanding for your foreign business partners or international associates and the customers of other parts of the world. A great person said once, it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. I would request we will look into a few more things. What are these etiquettes and its types? Most often, all of us use the emails, and emails have an etiquette. Let's look at the email etiquette. Let's also look at these days, all of us are 24/7 work on the social media, but there is an etiquette. How do you really handle the social media? We are into professions, we are into businesses, so that our business associates etiquette is one. We also have a business party etiquette, a culture of telephone etiquette, and this list endless because I won't have enough time to talk all of them. I still credit when I was a vice governor, got myself elected, and I came for the All India training, I still was taught how to eat, how to hold your folks, how to be part of a dining, a banquet, how to organize yourself, which one to use when. These are things that are taught at those times. I do not know how many it really goes now. But friends, most multiples I know, they do take this subject as an important, a very key element in their particular training, that the real RLLIs in their local trainings. What's more important is, let's look at the next item is, let's start with email etiquette. I would summarize this not only with good points, but also what does people talk about various emails. There are past directors, past presidents are dumped with number of mails with a mass mail. The first and foremost thing when an individual wants to write to someone, avoid mass mailing. Why would anybody take it seriously about an email that is sent to 1,000 people in this country or your business associates? Always avoid mass mailing. Number two, never add a CC unless it is absolutely necessary. Unless there is a need for you to copy someone on the email, never do that. Because a person like me or a person like anybody, if you make a CC, that is meant only for information, not for an action or a guidance. Therefore, most line leaders, when I get CC, they read and leave it there. But the sender would think that, yes, an email has sent to him and he did not respond. But he fundamentally forgets that email isn't addressed to the person with whom he is expecting a result. Thirdly, we also have, some of the friends have the habit of blind copying. Please, for God's sake, avoid this blind copying, because blind copying is either being very secretly sent, or it is sent for no action except for information. Please, for the law leader will take action on those emails. So the bottom line, the first etiquette that I would recommend you on email etiquette is avoid mass mailing, never add a CC, and blind copy unless extremely essential. I'm not saying don't do it, but it is extremely essential. An email shall carry explicitly mention subject of your email, because the moment an email is opened, one would focus on the subject. One gets to know what is he going to deal with that mail, inside of the mail. Most importantly, my friends, mention the recipient's full name as appropriate. It's just like, hi MDGLT team. That's not the way it is passed. This is Governor Line Rajesh Mehra. It is line Mr. Anand Mehta, or past international president ABC, the name. It has to be a specifically mention about the name of the recipient. We also get emails of tons of pages, about 10, 11 pages history. And this is a season of getting number of emails because April, May is like that. An email is not meant to write stories and paragraphs. It's important to be concise, yet very precise in your message. Concise is to be simple and short, and precise is to the point that you really address that. Every email must end by thanking the sender, for the cooperation and time spent on reading your email. That's the way professionally you write. And most of you must be receiving emails, and many have the habit of reading and forgetting about it. Remember, the good manners is that you will acknowledge every email you receive. And when having acknowledged, at the bottom have your digital signature. If possible, mention your name and designation. And you have features on those email accounts where you can simply prefix that best regards, line Vijay Kumar Raju, past international director. Fix it so that every email that goes out of your email box, it always has that designation and signature at the bottom. It's important. These are the email etiquettes in brief. Day in, day out, we are on the Facebook, Twitter, believe me, those WhatsApps and phone messaging and several other things. What often you get to see is the use of smileys. To my surprise, yesterday I saw a post of a lady in grief had posted, and somebody had responded with a smiley. I just could not understand or relate between these two. The lady which posted has expressing her grief in a difficult situation. Somebody posts a smiley. Are you ridiculing, or are you trying to sympathize, or didn't you know that an individual is aware of what to use? Friends, I would only request you, judicious use of smiley is more important. Just because somebody else has used, therefore you need to use. You don't use a love symbol to your superior, your boss for that matter. It has to be very, very judicious of use of smiley, and respond politely to every adverse comment. When a post is posted on a social media, there would be several comments, their friends would give, but when you have to make a comment, be very polite in making that adverse comment. You often come across when a post is made, 10 days later, someone try to respond. If you are an active social media person, respond at the earliest. Be very careful, be very judicious in getting yourself on genderless. It has to be because unbiased way of making the remarks. It's equally important. Never tarnish competitors and your rivals. You have differences. If somebody had posted something, you don't have to be, tarnish his image and try to put another one. All I would say in brief about this social media etiquette: think before you post. Think before you press the button of enter to send an email. These two things are highly essential for you to really follow. The next one, we would try and look at it. Anand, the next slide, please.
Yes, the next slide is on.
No,
Business
it did not. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah. The third one comes to the business associate etiquette. We always fix meetings at randomly, but then make sure you fix meetings at mutually convenient venues. Date and time. It will be very nice when you want to talk to someone who's your superior or senior, or when you want to have a conference call. Send a text saying like, hey, sir, can I have 10 minutes of your time? Would it be possible for you to talk to me on something? Or would it be possible for us to meet so-and-so time and so-and-so day? Will it be convenient for this? So make sure fix meetings at mutually convenient venues, date and time. When you make such an advance notice to the other person, you would elevate yourself that you are having concern and care for him. Having fixed a meeting, be present at the venue well in advance. You know, many times that we have talked, being on time is not being in time. Many of us typically that call ourselves as Indian Standard Time and establishes ourselves that we are a possible late Latifs. Certainly not. In the global arena, if you are on time, still you are late. It's important that you have to be 15 minutes ahead of the meeting time. Your fellowship time, even 15 minutes before that. So be present at the venue well in advance if you are the organizer. If you are playing the host, ensure all essentials are in place. It reminds me 20 years ago when I joined Lionism, where you used to have the lion tamer, that used to be very active, past presidents all to stand outside together and meet and greet and escort your friends and fellow lions who come from other pasts. Have someone in every meeting meet, greet, and escort your business associate or your fellow lions to the meeting room. That sends a wonderful message. Remember, never keep your fellow lions or business associates waiting. That doesn't speak very well of you. And I also see this, many of us and everyone in this world is so very busy that they do get phone calls. Make sure you switch off your phone call or put a message after 2 rings, in silent mode. It can get a message, say he's in a meeting and he can get back to you, leave a message or put your voicemail on. Ensure you are not disturbed by phone calls. Sometimes, you have guests who suddenly drops in. If a business associate drops by uninformed, ensure you meet them without much delay and dispose if they are not related to that specific meeting. Friends, we are all busy, but a simple reason, when you have sent a text, an email, or a call, will show your professionalism and respect. All of us should have this habit. Are you free? Can I talk to you? Send a small message, WhatsApp, availability, so that you can even mention what is the subject that you intend to talk. It's important for you to make sure all your business meetings has an RSVP. An RSVP, if is invited for a business party, regardless of whether you attend or not, because you will be able to convey your responses, your invitations, or information that you would like to leave. The RSVP is a must. Most business meetings stipulate a dress code. So do Lions meetings. You should mention that what is the dress code that you prefer to have it, and the invite shall carry that information. Don't expect people to join with their spouse if not mentioned in specific. Ensure you mention that whether the invitation is your fellow line or a business associate, includes the spouse. If you expect them to join with spouse, make sure it is for spouse too. Whenever you wanted to invite people who share common interests and can bring in, kind of a life into that party. In Lions Club meetings, do you remember those days of Lion Tail Twister used to make a lot of, his job was to bring in life. Similarly, when your common friends come in for your meetings and get-togethers and parties, they bring a lot of life and joy to those meetings. Never segregate people based on their positions during a party. When you make a banquet or throw a party, never say, hey, here are cabinet officers to join. This is past governors to go. This is where you need to really get your lines on and off. I mean, these are essential for you to understand. We don't discriminate by position. In front of the Lions Club International, whether he's a past or a present international president, or a line of a Lions Club. It's just one and the same. And let's learn this and practice it. Have a very affable staff, watch over your, bar, buffet, and other arrangements that they are. Remember this, standards are not established by your proclamations. They are established by your routines. Bring in a culture. If it is so-and-so is hosting a meeting, these are the standards that are expected. I think that's how we need to really work on. My most favorite, pretty critical, and the culture that needs to have is the dining etiquettes. Friends, we have the habit of having and speaking the cell phone everywhere and anywhere at any time. Make sure the first and fundamental principle when you are sitting on a dining table with 8 or 9 people with their families and it's a proper dinner, please, for God's sake, turn off your cell phone before sitting down. Never talk when you food in your mouth. Taste your food before you add salt, pepper, or other seasoning. It's important for you to do it. Many of us, not very well versed with those cutlery and stuff. Don't cut all your food before you begin eating. Go by slow. When I got myself as a vice governor in 2009 and I reached the Bombay to learn my All India School first lesson, believe me, that has changed. I wasn't that aware why 6 glasses on my table. Why 6, 3 forks and 3 spoons on the table. How do I start left to right, inward to outward, or outward to inward? So these are the culture that needs to, importantly, where do you keep your napkin? Learn, never blow on your food. Remember, pay attention to the table manners. I would like to talk to you. When someone made a comment this year, St. Charles, the district governor's school, we have, for whatever the reason, in our Lions Club parties and dinners where we would organize a buffet where we have the habit of eating it while standing close by to those dishes. Let's make a habit of taking, after the serving, move to a dining table and have it. If it's just a buffet, I think people expect, people watch. I'm not to debate or discuss more about it. What's more important is people watch and they assess. Remember, your table manners is a reflection of your personality. I quote, your table manners is a reflection of your personality. No matter what kind of a suit you wear, how big a car that you use and attend a meeting, and a great speech that you make, people assess you by your manners, table manners, and that speaks volumes about you. Similarly, telephone calls are handled. The etiquette of telephones is what we're going to talk now. Ensure the caller is handled promptly. Don't let a caller have to wait for 10 rings, 8 rings, 12 rings, even if the call person is not on the desk. Still, handle it properly. Whenever a call comes in, ask the caller's name, contact number. Assure call person will respond back at the earliest. You have to be very polite. Answer the call. Say hello instead hi. Or other words. It's more appropriate language, a proper language to be used over telephone. Be very selective in use of your words. Sometimes it could be your boss calling for some work. Sometimes your senior colleague. Sometimes someone who's below your rank. But remember, actively listen and take notes. Whenever you have another call in between, ask before putting someone on hold or transferring a call. Hey, can I get 1 sec, please? Let me answer the other call. Your tone brings all the difference. Your tone can bring in all the significant difference because your culture speaks, and that's your personality. And this is a little about on telephone etiquette, Anand. Similarly, we have a small brief on the workplace. Most importantly, you should learn to develop a workplace etiquettes, inform your colleagues, fellow lines about do's and don'ts of the system. You know, we don't barge into somebody's room, somebody's office without a call. Just take an example that you got to go to Bombay office and you know Ruchita so very well, and because she's your own past governor spouse, you don't go there. You need to have a specific time. Ask a time. Go to any staff talking to them. Let them know why are you going? What is your intention? So you need to know every office do's and don'ts, so do your office. Encourage a system of greeting one another. I have seen many times, even on a lift, your own colleague, you know, we act like a stranger. The rest of the world, it is not. People would say hello, good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is. You know, greet people. Encourage a system of greeting one another in your workplace. Create an atmosphere of confidence where employees can share views openly without fears, no retribution. You know, we're all a team in pursuing a goal to the next level. I think we should create an environment. It is not only business environment. It is important for you to do among your club meeting, your team meeting, your zones, your districts. You know, you need to have that kind of an environment created. And what's important, maintain a proper dress code. Work has some sort of decency where you can't be casual, and work on those dress codes. Create, promote avenues for healthy interaction. Never bring in personal disputes to erupt into the verbal duels at workplace. And most importantly, nip the unhealthy gossip. I don't have to make specifics that you all know. Remember, the etiquette starts at home. I remember the good old saying, charity, education, and all the good stuff starts at home. Similarly, the workplace etiquettes also start at home. Treat your staff at home very well. Sometimes, you know, you have the situation where you have business etiquettes by culture, by regions. You know, sometimes what is the culture in the United States could be way different from the culture in Japan. What's the culture in Japan may be way different from that of in China. But today it's a global village and we do deal with people across the globe. Similarly, lines get an opportunity to meet lines across the globe. So let's look at the small cultures. You know, business etiquettes differs according to the region and their culture. Remember, before you travel, before you interact with some group, understand their culture before you visit them to enhance harmonious relationship. Today, everything is available on internet and you get to understand the place you're going, the kind of people you're going to deal with, what are their likes, what is that. Even they identify our culture by the way you extend your business card. If a Japanese gentleman would give it to you with both hands holding the cards on either sides, so very respectfully offer. And it's important for you to receive with the same spirit. If you just typically an Indian way of doing, you know, giving it with a single hand, putting on a table may not sell very well. We are all different because we are all unique. Yet we can achieve unity in diversity. Today is an opportunity for us to really look at those things. Friends, business etiquette is a set of manners that is accepted or required in a profession. often upheld by a custom. It is enforced by the members of an organization. You know, typically the India and the South Asia, the culture which I get to, if not appreciating, but understand the way people behave is me, myself, I'm first. That is very ill looked when you are in the other parts of the world. When you go to the United States, it's the others first. Being very respectful to women, being very, very supportive and helping to the elders, senior citizens. For you and me in this country, perhaps breaking a line or queue isn't a bigger crime. But if you break the queue, it's even serious offense than a murder that you commit in the United States. Nobody would punish you, but it diminishes your reputation in the other man's mind. It's not me, myself. It's not you, yourself. It's others. Others first. Let's understand how you need to be so respectful to women, how courteous you need to be to the elders, how courteous you need to be somebody who's senior to you. You know, all of us are in this organization not because we are exceptionally good. In the yesteryears years, previous decades, the elders have made so much of a sacrifice and did their best in their life. That's perhaps the reason that the 100 years of this organization sustained and gave us an opportunity for you and me, for whatever the level that we are in today, to ensure this organization, this culture will move forward for another 100 years to go. I must tell you one of the incidents that my younger days, when I was studying 9th standard in a school in Visakhapatnam called St. Anthony's, opposite to my school, we used to have a 5-star hotel called Green Park. Those days it used to be Apsara. We used to peep through the glass window pane or a glass door how a Lions meeting used to happen. People of culture, people of meeting. In fact, the beauty of Lionism lies largely in its meetings and the way you conduct. I leave a question at this stage, you know, are we at that stage? Give a thought for yourself. We may agree to disagree, but it's yet to be most dignified and in a most decent way. If you want me to summarize the whole thing, you know, business etiquettes are rules that aren't meant to be broke. All I would say, pay attention to names, greet everyone, maintain eye contact. Simple way if I put, hello Rajesh, hello Anand, that's not the way. Hello Mr. Rajesh, hello past Governor Rajesh Mehra, hello Mr. Anand Mehta. I think that sends a powerful message. Saying, hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is, that sends it. Let's make this as a habit. But sometimes we only do it to our seniors, superiors, and elders, or those people where you have business contacts. Make this as a habit. When 2 of you or 3 of you are going together to meet another person, pay attention, introduce others. Keep your workplace very neat. Proofread, not once, 10 times your emails before you press that enter button. None of us are exceptional. None of us have 100% ability in communicating in English. There are tools that are available. Something like Grammarly attached to your email that corrects you, your language, that helps you put in the right language. You can still communicate. Proofread your thank you notes. All I would say, be polite and professional. Be polite and professional in your dealings. Never be late. Be on time. When I say on time, is not dot on time, it is 15 minutes ahead of the time. practice good hygiene. Today we are in a circumstances of COVID-19. I get so privileged, so very proud. I was there till 15th of last month in the New York. Let's follow Indian culture. Namaste. No shake hand business. So we tried to do a little bit of elbowing, knuckling, but no. Maintain good hygiene. Friends, dress appropriately. Pay attention to what you are wearing. Pay attention to the way. I remember my younger days when I joined the armed forces. I'm a typical South Indian boy where grew up from my home, couldn't have anything without a pickle and without ending a meal with a curd. When I got into the academy, Air Force Academy, for the first time, probably at age of 18, I had to hold my knife and fork. And my matron used to, take a stick and beat all of us on the knuckles. The reason is there's hard way of learning. Dress appropriately. Wear leather shoes black for a dinner. Try and wear a full sleeve shirt. It's not what costliest dress that you would wear. What's important, how appropriate are you? All I would say, dress appropriately. Pay attention to table manners. Allow the food is served to everyone on the table. Allow everyone to start their food. Don't you ever begin the meal. And try be aware of the non-verbal cues. Never be a complainer. Lion is an exceptional person. If ever given an opportunity for you to stand on a side, try be part of the progressive side. Never be part of the regressive. Most important, put away your phone. Mark my words, watch all the leaders in this country, their phones won't ring. Does this mean that they do not have work? Do you think they are freer than you? They put their phones in silent, attended during breaks. Let's learn this habit of putting the phone on silent and attend the meetings. Show respect for shared areas and items. When you are jointly having things, it's important to give them an opportunity for others. Don't overshare or don't be too distant. In general, why? Be mindful of how others work. Try and understand what is their culture. Make sure, appreciate individuals' distinct culture. It reminds me, before I throw you on, Maya Angelou. She's one of those greatest American poets. Someone who wrote 7 to 8 autobiographies. She once said, I have learned that people will forget what you said. I have learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel. It is the responsibility. Among the audience, there are line leaders who are listening to me. Please understand, leadership is not position or a title. It is an action and result. I still remember my first visit to the United States Canada Leadership Forum, along with PID Sangeeta and PID AP Singh. What was told to me is, observe Vijay, the way leaders work. Past directors work as roll callers. Past directors stand near the bus and help the first time lines to take proper and right seats. Past directors help as the doormen. Past directors assist everybody. What is the message? My friends who are hearing me as past governors, help your younger lions. Those of you who are cabinet officers, help your club members, because a fellow lion, treat him with respect, treat him with dignity, and remember, You are not an ordinary person. You are an extraordinary person, pulling out your time, talent for the sake of doing good to the others. With this, I would wrap up and request if there are any questions, discussions, that I am open, my friends.
Thank you, Dr. Vijay Kumar Raju, and it was indeed very enlightening. And the question box is full. Very difficult for me to read all the questions, but I'll begin with one. And praises. So the first question, if someone comments that etiquette with sophisticated dress code and table manners are sort of an attempt to engulf by the neoliberal cultural at the cost of an age-old regional subculture of the heterogeneous community, too long a question, how would you defend?
I think I would not differentiate between the modern culture or the older one, we would put it that way. Didn't our elders taught us respect women? Didn't our grandparents teach you and me to be helpful to the elders? Didn't our great grandparents told us to wear not necessarily a suit, but dress properly, keep yourself hygiene, keep yourself. I don't think anything is different between the modern times versus the previous era. I think they were there, but only thing is the context could be a little very different, and each of us come with a specific culture. But then when you want to become a global citizen, when you want to become a global leader, it is important for you to also understand the culture of others, make them very comfortable, and work on those aspects of it. And that's my simple answer.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vijay Kumar Raju. The next question being, if a business associate drops in without information and you are truly very busy and can't spare even a single minute, what should be done?
I'm sure a business associate of yours had come for a specific purpose, and you are in a situation that you really can't find, but you can always text him and say, excuse yourself, and express or explain him how busy you are, and can it not defer? Can you not defer that meeting over to next? What are the time that is convenient, suitable to both of you? Though I said, talk to him and dispose him off when there is a time, but you have absolutely no time and he had dropped in, I'm sure that can be kept aside.
Thank you, Dr. Vijay Kumar. There is a request for your presentation to be shared.
Yes,
So,
I'll certainly share to the organizers, right? You can always, we have a little longer version with a little bit of pictures, which I'll send it to Past Governor Rajesh, who would be able to really share with everyone.
okay. Another question is related a little bit to Lionism. And the question is, in a party, is it okay to let past district governors sit with ordinary lions on a round table dinner?
Why not? Why not? I have said this. Why past governors? I know past presidents sit with you. Presidents sit with you. In a dining area, it's again, I got from which side this point is coming with others. Friends, if you are a leader with concern for your fellow lions, my recommendation, never dine exclusively in a part. I know certain districts have different cultures, certain multiples have different probably habits. It is possible for a leader to always be with their fellow lions. Now you can understand why did the organizer made it a little separate, because if everybody understands the limitations, then it's acceptable. But you ask me, I would prefer being with the lions, and I recommend everybody to stay with, because We said this very clearly. We are not different. We are lions of this largest organization. No matter, title is only, puts you in the first amongst the rest, but that does not differentiate a person to person. Thank you. Next question, please.
We receive too many greetings on social media on all religious and social occasions from business associates. What is the best way to respond to these?
That's an interesting question. Can we not at the end of the day say thank you very much for all those wishes and greetings at the one stroke of a message? If you start responding to each one, that'll take away the whole life of your time. On a birthday, on an occasion, on a meeting, a number of people greet you towards the end of the day. If I were to do it, that's what I would prefer doing that.
The next question is, we asked dress code to be maintained, but maximum people do not know what. Could you please tell us something on the dress code?
Well, that's an interesting question. What's important for us for a meeting? I'll tell you what happened to me. On a midsummer, I was a governor, drove in a huge expensive car, wore like any other line leader, a suit, tie. Imagine the temperature is running around close to 45 or 44 in the mid-noon, and I do a service activity. The dress that I wore and went, was it appropriate? I knew it is not. But unfortunately, my predecessors have done that, how I am forced to do it. What's more important, every business meeting or a event has a specific organizers have to decide. In certain meetings, if you ask me, shoes means shoes of leather, black, brown, whatever tan color. But you walk in sneakers, that's not taken an appropriate dress sense. If someone says a shirt is not on a half sleeves or a t-shirt, it had to be a full sleeves. See, these meetings we need to learn, the culture of informing what is appropriate dress code, with tie, without. So what we say, the dress codes, we say the attire is to be formal. When say formal, it is with tie, a suit, and a leather shoe, and that's how you wear. When you say business/informal, the only change is you remove the tie, yet you wear a blazer and still go for the dinner. When somebody says it's casual, it is at that time it's at half sleeves or a full sleeves, or you are into your regulars. Does not mean you are to wear a polo t-shirt or a round neck t-shirt or something which is little looking, jeans, etc. Remember, in the Lions culture, it is formal, informal dress, and casual. This is the culture that internationally among Lions or others. So formal means that you get to see everybody, with tie on, proper suit, well dressed, having things. It is informal or business, then it has to be simply the without tie, having a blazer on you, and then you can go. The third, casual, I repeat, no t-shirts, no jeans, no sneakers. Still, you would go maybe, a shirt with collar with probably a Lions logo. And we need to understand for the service dresses that we'll have to really work. You see me right now wearing a Lions shirt. That's pretty decent when you are into conditions of climate like India. I think, unless it's specified it to be formal, you can still be as decent as you can. Mrs.
Agreed.
Rikshita.
Thank you so much. And as they say, wear according to the message that you want to pass on. Because in life, we don't get a second chance to create first impression.
Yes.
On that note, there is somebody who is making a comment that Raju sir, you really played the role of Saurav Ganguly.
Oh my God. Thank you.
Well, the next question
Right.
is, how can we
Yes.
control people when they have not, oh, he means when they do not follow etiquette?
That's an interesting question, and we often come across in meetings. He's a fellow lion who does not. This is where in every Lions Club there is always mentors in Lions Clubs, mentors in districts. Imagine I'm a person not followed the culture, dress, and I just bumped into the meeting the way I wanted. Ridiculing me or asking me to leave may not be a very cultured way of doing things. Insulting me in public and say you are not appropriate is also incorrect. Does this mean if I don't say now, I might repeat the same next time too? This is where a culture of a mentor and a mentee comes in. In every Lions Club, there are senior leaders, senior people with you can whisper into their ears and they may go and say, Mr. Vijay, this is not very appropriate dress for this meeting. I'm sure you are aware and probably you will not do the same thing next time. Fine by this time. Believe me, with that saying, either I quit quietly or I will never make that mistake. I think there is a very decent way and a dignified way of conveying the right things, conveying a message. You don't have to hurt him, but still you can convey this. Yes. Putting in order, sending it on time and again. Why everything is going on time in this learnathon? People communicate and people have communicated, and many times, they have really conveyed what is expected of in each individual. Next, Ruchita ji.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll just take one last question. There are many questions, but unfortunately, we can't take them all. Now, the next question is, etiquette is culture oriented or character oriented?
Well, that's a very deep question. I would say both. Etiquette is more towards of your individual character, assimilating your culture of your state, your place that you belong to. I don't want to differentiate beyond that. I think, in my opinion, it is both. I would more so say it's more of your personal character than others. If it is only culture, then everybody would have been following it up. But it represents both. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vijay Kumar Raju. Over to you, Anand Mehta.
Can I make the closing remarks, please?
Please go on, sir. Please go on.
Friends, I'm extremely delighted once again to be part of this wonderful program. It is a path-breaking initiative by the leadership. Thank you, Anand, for your brilliant ideas as ever. And my colleague and friend Rajesh ji, you've been as ever as wonderful. You have put this country on a new line, and you both have really lit the fire. Thank you, Ruchita ji. And I'm sure it's a wonderful learning opportunity. Happy learning. Stay safe, stay home. And for anything, we are all there and get back to you. Do not treat us to be a super leaders. Everyone is a lion and everyone is available to help you, assist you in pursuing your next levels. Good luck to everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
That
sir.
was
Thank you so much.
Vijay Raju ji. Thank you very much for an amazing presentation and giving it dil se, doing it from heart. The way you expressed examples, experiences really made all of us learn a great thing and had a great time. Thank you very much, sir, for spending a valuable time and not only giving us the learnings but also motivating us with your thoughts. Thank you very much.